Mishka, do you understand when I speak to you, or would you like that I speak Russian? Okay, it's 11 o'clock in the evening. You need to go to sleep. You don't like to sleep, right? Okay, let's make a deal. You will listen now a tale that I tell to you, and you go to sleep, yes? Okay, let me see. I know one! Il Petre Rosso! Ah! Let's go. So it's like this. Once upon a time, in Italy, in that city full of canals, there was a man called Antonio Lucio Vivaldi. Antonio Vivaldi, he was born in 1678, and he was the son of a violinist, always surrounded by music. But you know what? His family was also famous for making perruques. So, and what? What you want to tell to me? Okay. So, Antonio Vivaldi, he very fastly gained recognition because of his talent. But he had also a second vocation, the church. When he was 15 years old, he enters the seminary. Close your eyes. When he was 15, he entered the seminary, okay? And in 1703, that means when already he was around 35 years old, he is named as a priest, and he earned a nickname, Il Petre Rosso, because he had a lot of red hairs. Despite his ecclesiastical role, he couldn't really serve as a priest for a long time because he was suffering of asthma. You know, when you cannot breathe very well. You know what? Lucky us, because he devoted all his life to music. He was a wonderful violin teacher. He was composing violin concerti to his students. He became a violin teacher at Ospedale della Pietà. It was an orphanage for girls in Venice. No, don't be sad, because they were all learning music and violin with him. He had a good heart. You know how many concerti he composed? More than 400. More than 400. Of course, the most famous piece is The Four Seasons. Could be really considered one of the earliest programmatic music because it really aims to tell a story, to paint a picture. There was a poem that Vivaldi used as a guideline for all the compositions. And I have an idea. We are going to connect those poems with the music. Springtime is upon us. the birds celebrate her return with festive song. And murmuring streams are softly caressed by the breeze. Thunderstorms, those heralds of spring, roar, casting their dark mantle over heaven. Then they die away to silence, and the birds take up their charming songs once more. On the flower-strewn meadow, with leafy branches rustling overhead, the goat herd sleeps, his faithful dog beside him. Led by the festive sound of rustic bagpipes, nymphs and shepherds lightly dance beneath the brilliant canopy of spring. Summer, beneath the blazing sun's relentless heat, men and flocks are sweltering, pines are scorched. We hear the cuckoo's voice, then sweet songs of the turtle, dove, and finch are heard. Soft breezes stir the air, but threatening north wind sweeps them suddenly aside. The shepherd trembles, fearful of violent storm and what might lie ahead. His limbs are now awakened from their repose by fear of lightning's flash and thunder's roar as gnats and flies buzz furiously around. Alas, his worst fears were justified, as the heavens roar and great hailstones beat down upon the proudly standing corn. Autumn, the peasant celebrates with song and dance, the harvest safely gathered in. The cup of Bacchus flows freely, and many find their relief in deep slumber. The singing and the dancing die away as cooling breezes fan the pleasant air, inviting all to sleep without a care. The hunters emerge at dawn, ready for the chase with horns and dogs and cries. Their quarry flees while they give chase. Terrified and wounded, the prey struggles on, but Harriet dies. Winter, shivering, frozen mid the frostly snow, inviting, stinging winds. Running to and fro to stamp one's icy feet, teeth chattering in the bitter chill. To rest contentedly beside the hearth while those outside are drenched by pouring rain. We tread the icy path slowly and cautiously for fear of tripping and falling. Then turn abruptly, slip, crash on the ground, and rising hasten on across the ice lest it cracks up. We feel the chill north winds course through the home despite the locked and bolted doors. This is winter, which nonetheless brings its own delights. It's beautiful, right? Oh, now we are almost sleeping finally. Okay. Despite this wonderful career of Vivaldi, it was really up and down. After a moment, people considered that his compositions went out of style. So in 1740, he decides to move to Vienna, looking for a new sponsor, let's say a new patron. And this one, it was the Emperor Charles VI. He was really fan of music. But quite ironic, after Vivaldi arrival in Vienna, the emperor passed away. Vivaldi, that we are so deeply grateful, he found himself totally without any support. He died in total poverty in 1741 with 63 years old. And he was buried in an unmarked grave. But this is not the most tragic. You know what happened after his death? He remained in obscurity for almost 2 centuries. Imagine symphonies, mass, concerti, thousands of scores. They remain in silence, waiting to be rediscovered. Well, I need to tell to Mishka that all tales, for sleeping at least, they should have an happy ending in order to have sweet dreams. Arrives suddenly the beginning of the 20th century. In 1920, now more than 100 years ago, some researchers discover manuscripts in Italy, and between them, Vivaldi Four Seasons. It's incredible, right? One of the most famous classical music pieces. It got rediscovered only now, 100 years ago. There is an amazing book about that, and it's called L'affare Vivaldi. I really do suggest for everyone to take a look to read this book. They reemerge through a mix of circumstances, including the greed of a Salesian bishop and the keen intuition of two dedicated scholars, Gentili, a musicologist from the University of Turin, and Torri, the director of the city's National Library. However, these manuscripts faced further difficulties, including governmental indifference, the anti-Semitic policies of the fascist regime, and the opportunism and ingratitude of Italy's new leaders. Federico Maria Sardelli, a leading expert on Vivaldi and a satirical writer, traces the fate of the composer's manuscripts through two main threads: the events that led to their obscurity from 1741 until their rediscovery, and the efforts of two determined individuals to recover them. He also details the chaotic attempts to make these manuscripts publicly accessible, ending with a somber conclusion. Sardelli's account is both a critique and a tribute, highlighting the Italian state's long-standing neglect and lack of appreciation for its cultural treasures. It seeks to correct historical truth and honor the contributions of Luigi Torri and Alberto Gentili, whose efforts have allowed us to appreciate Vivaldi as we do today. And what about the recording that we were listening? It was my former violin teacher and one of my musical references. She is the brilliant French musician Amandine Beyer. If you want to listen something very inventive, invenzione dell'armonia, trying out with strings, telling tales, and with a lot of fantasy, it's a must to do stop. It's a unique and inspiring interpretation. And what about the lifestyle learning that Vivaldi and the Four Seasons led to us? Vivaldi's Four Seasons mirrors the cyclical nature of life and nature itself. Just as the seasons change from spring to winter, our life experiences periods of growth, joy, decline, and renewal. Each phase has its own beauty and significance, reminding us to appreciate each stage of the journey. Resilience and legacy. Despite Vivaldi's decline in popularity and his eventual death in poverty, his music endured. His story teaches us that even when faced with adversity and obscurity, the true value of our work can be recognized. Maybe not in the future, or maybe yes, but inside of us, for sure. Persistence and patience, always for this that you love. And the power of art to capture experience. Vivaldi's ability to translate the experience of the seasons into music highlights the profound impact art can have. Art can capture and convey the essence of human experience and the natural world, allowing us to connect deeply with emotions and with sensations that words alone might not express. Vivaldi, chapeau. Now it's time to go to sleep, also to me. But you go to your CDs, go to your cassettes, to your vinyls, maybe play with your friends, or go to a live concert. And always remember, behind every note, there is a life tale waiting for us. Grande beso, and see you next week. I have now a new lullaby for you. Remember to subscribe and give your like. Activate the bell. I love you well. Ciao. No, Mishka, you are awake again.